Hi. Today I'm gonna be saying why Tom Holland isn't the best Spider-Man. And just because I'm saying he's not the best Spider-Man doesn't mean that he's not a good Spider-Man. He's a lit Spider-Man, he's just not the best. And at this point, I don't think you can really describe anyone as the best Spider-Man because, like, more or less, they're all on the same level. They all have their bads, they all have their cons, they all have their pros, and more or less they're on the same level. The first thing, Tom Holland's Spider-Man doesn't have like the snark or like the sass that is a big part of Spider-Man. You see, the thing about Peter Parker is when he's Peter Parker, he's like an introvert. He's this shy, socially awkward kid, and that's like put across perfectly by Tom Holland. But in his alter ego, oftentimes he's way more confident and way more sarcastic because like he's behind a mask, he's not afraid to like be who he is, so he's way more confident, he's way more sarcastic, more snarky basically. That's not something I see with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I don't know about Tom Holland, but you see, whenever his Spider-Man is facing against enemies, he's not usually like roasting them, which I would expect a little bit to happen. I feel like he's just kind of afraid to roast them, like still. And maybe that's because he's like still getting on with his Spider-Man persona. And, but I would really love to see that side of Peter Parker because it is an important part of his character. It shows what he's like when he's behind a mask because it's him. He likes doing what he does, you know? He wants to save people. He wants to put away bad guys. And he wants to make the world a safer place. And most of the time, he has fun when he's doing this. And he likes to showcase that across vocally. Not put across properly, I guess. What it doesn't Even though he seems like he's having fun, he doesn't seem like he's like that much in the moment kind of thing, you know? He seems like he's still kind of afraid to step out, if that makes sense. Okay, so the second point. I feel like I feel like in these movies, Peter Parker's like brash and more headstrong side isn't shown a lot. They focus a lot on his soft side, which is also important, but like the other side, the more brash, the more anger sort of side of him isn't shown as much. I feel like it was there a little bit in Far From Home when he was going telling to Fury, you know, I don't want to do this. I just came here to have a normal vacation. That was good. That showed his like defiant side a little bit more, but he still wasn't put across properly, just like how I can't say my words properly. I just think that okay, see, with the whole MJ thing, it was kind of there in Far From Home because like he likes this girl, but this other guy likes her too, and he's trying to get the girl before him, and that's leading him to take some kind of rash decisions and rash thoughts in his head. But he's so naive with Mysterio still. Like he's supposed to be like 15, 16 in the movies, right? Um it's really not showing. He seems much younger than he actually is, much more innocent than he actually is. After what all he's been through, I wouldn't. He was so naive with Mysterio, and like he is a little naive. He's learning, and that's the main point of the movie. How he makes mistakes, and then he learns from them and grows from them. But it felt like it was taken a little too far, you know. He knew Mysterio just for a little while. When he gave Tony's glasses to Mysterio, it was so out of character. Even an 11-year-old wouldn't do that. Like he had a couple conversations with Mysterio, didn't even know him for that long, and then out of a sudden he's like he has three meaningful deep conversations, trust the guy, and he's like, "Here, have my deceased father figure's glasses that he gifted to me." No. To be honest, it would be more believable. Like, we got to see their bond instead of just the beginnings of one. That would make much more sense. And a continuation, kind of, on this point, the sub point, I want to see Peter's dark side. Even though he's a teenager, everyone has a dark side. There's so many movies where you can see even like little tiny kids showing their dark side. And that's what I want to be shown. Like in The Amazing Spider-Man, Peter had a brash, a headstrong, a side to him where the anger would take over. And I feel like it's not shown that much with Tom Holland's Peter Parker, and that's a really big important part of him, because like he keeps all his emotions in most of the time, and then they come out in bursts, and then sometimes he can't control himself. I feel like that's what should have been the main focal point of Far From Home, not his naivety, but rather like how he can't control his emotions properly. And it was shown just a little bit. They touched upon it, but I still feel like that wasn't more of his dark side rather than just his inside. And I want to see that side to Peter Parker, because that's what makes people human. Not just them like crying on screen or like going through hard stuff, but what makes them unlikable to people. Not every part of you is amazing. Not every part of you is going to be something people accept, and that's what I want Peter Parker to show, his dark side, which really isn't come across in the movie. As I said, they show his soft side a lot, which is good, but there needs to be a little bit of balance, which wasn't really reaching. So this is my last point, basically, and it's the motivation. It's never really clearly explained in the movies what Peter's motivation is to be Spider-Man, other than the fact that he wants to save people or make the world a better place, or like other organizations are asking him to save people and he has this responsibility thrust upon him and he just can't let go of it. But what was it in the first place that makes him go out, makes him want to save people? That's never really clearly explained in the movie, and I feel like that's a big part of just any character. Not just Spider-Man, just any character. Their motivation says a lot about them. And Peter Parker's motivation, you see in different comic books, in different movies, it's in different video games, it's changing. You can't really pinpoint one, but always it's something that drives his character to be who he is. And see, it could be his uncle's death, and his uncle telling him, with great power comes great responsibility. That was one of his motivations. Now he has this power and he wants to use it because that's his responsibility now. And it's very clearly said in the movie how that impacts him and makes him who he is. Except in this movie, there's no motivation. It's just, oh, he's a superhero. Yeah, that was it in Homecoming. In Far From Home, he's like, oh, he wants to be a normal person, but he has this responsibility thrust upon him by an outer organization. And so, okay, he'll like save the world and all. That's cool. That's like it. I feel like it just doesn't show that part of his character. It's not. No, no, no. That was it. That was kind of short. I know you could delve much deeper, and you could find more points, but I think those were some of the most important points, which set him apart from fully embodying the character of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. There's also one more thing I wanted to say. It's not exactly why he's not the best Spider-Man, because his stories, of course, you gotta make the stories different so people will watch them. But I kind of wish that they still had that radioactive Spider-Man thing where he got bit by a radioactive spider and that's how he gained his powers, rather than him making his own web thrusters. But you know what? Each story's gotta make it. Each story has got to set their own path, got to set their own pace. They have to have something that sets them apart from the rest. And for this movie, it might be that. It might not be. I'm not sure what they were thinking behind it. I kind of wish that they had it, but like, what are your thoughts on this? And is there any points that I missed or any points that you guys think that I'm wrong on? Please comment. Please like if you don't, please like the video if you like what I'm saying, or if you don't like it, or if you don't care, just give it a like. I really need it. I'm lonely. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.